here's over 50 tips to instantly make you better at medium, including a few at the very end from one of the best medium players in the world. But without further ado, let's dive into it. You can attach the APS turret on any throwable prop. Not only will it eat any projectiles that passes through its range as you carry it, but if you throw the prop towards any placed gadget, such as a mine, C4, or breach charge, it will straight up eat them. And this next one is a bit of a niche use, but it can help in some cases. The sonar grenade, like any other grenade, will trigger after a certain amount of time rather than after landing. This means that you can line up and throw sonar grenades next to a building and have it scan enemies on the way down before it eventually lands on the ground like usual. You can place gas mines on top of a ceiling and detonate them to have the gas damage enemies in the room above you. The zipline gadget can be attached to moving objects such as platforms, cranes, or wrecking balls. Better yet, if the objects start moving, the zipline will adjust and stay connected until it reaches a certain range, or its line of sight between the two attachment points is broken. If you throw a mine on top of a prop, such as a chair or whatever, and then throw that prop, the prop will break once it lands, but it will leave the mine in that very place, which lets you set up mines at way longer ranges. That being said, it might not be super useful if you're trying to get something more difficult, like the like button on this video. And obviously this doesn't really work with a gas canister, but that brings me to the next tip in this video. If you try doing this with a gas canister, the mines will instead blow up as soon as they hit an enemy, dealing a ridiculous amount of damage in a short period of time. It's a weaker version of the nukes that you can pull off with the heavy or the light builds. You can get a lot of free kills with the explosive mine by placing it at the very end of a door and then closing it. Almost every enemy in the game will just blindly run through and get hit. The most efficient way to use a defibrillator is, as you're on the way to and close to the enemy that you want to revive, start a slide and at the same time immediately start holding your fire button, and as you're sliding close enough, jump, release the primary button midair to actually revive them, and then just get right back into cover while healing them up. If you place a jump pad under a cash out and then make it fall on top of that jump pad, either by blowing it up, punching it with a heavy, or if the cash out is on one of these elevators, in which case you just activate it, it will start bouncing in perpetuity until the cash out is finished or the jump pad is destroyed. Your healing beam specialization heals at the same rate as the amount of damage dealt by the gas. This means that you can have a teammate completely tank the gas and stay alive as long as you heal. This is especially useful if you need to steal the cash out through gas damage. In addition to that, if you do try healing a teammate that is trying to steal a cash out, if the situation allows it, try to stand in front of him to block potential incoming bullets or projectiles as well. If you're trying to set up on a cash out that's still standing upright, make sure to place at least one mine under the roof of the cash out for a free kill. Just because the defibrillator is this amazing gadget that gives you instant revives, that doesn't mean that you should use it every single time a teammate is dead. It has an incredibly long cooldown and as such should only be used for emergencies. If you can revive a teammate without wasting the defibrillator cooldown, do that instead, so you have it readily available should a teammate get knocked down the line. Speaking of which, if a teammate's statue is lying down or half of it is cut off for whatever reason, where you decide to place a defibrillator and revive matters a lot. Because if you try using a defibrillator on the top side of a statue, odds are nothing will happen. So instead, aim for the base of the statue to ensure that you get that revive off. A small quality of life tip, especially if you're playing a supportive or healer medium, when going back from the healing beam, there's no need to select a specific weapon that you want to use. You can easily swap between your healing beam and your primary weapon by tapping the specialization key again. If you're playing medium, especially as the only medium on your team, this means that you need to run the defibrillator and the healing beam. The sustain is just too good to pass up on. Before picking up the vault, make sure to place explosive mines or just mines on it to throw it at an enemy and use it as an impromptu nuke if you happen to get caught off guard. You can place a mine on the orange pipe of these elevators. This will make them blow up the second an enemy takes the elevator and happens to pass through it. In addition to that, I want to add that there is some value to tossing a mine right on top of an enemy statue. That's because an absent-minded enemy going for a revive might end up stepping too close and dying to the mine, or have the revived person accidentally trigger it the moment they are revived. If you don't end up getting the kill, the mines will at the very least blow up and alert you of their presence. If you want to perform your best as a medium, at the moment you should really only run the AKM or the FCAR. These two weapons have the most versatility out of all of the options available, both with a respectable damage per second compared to most other guns in the game. If you don't trust your aim too much, or you just want a more forgiving experience, you can use the AKM, but if you know that you are a beamer, you can get away with and probably should run the FCAR instead. If you for whatever reason run two mediums on the same team, your healing beams will stack and heal your teammate at twice the speed of a normal heal. Your jump pad can be attached to basically any surface, and if placed on a slope, it will launch you far in the direction that the pad is pointing. The steeper the angle, the further horizontally it will send you. My personal go-tos will always be using stairs, bushes, or even goo. You can place both the APS or Guardian turrets on any surface, including floors, walls, and the ceiling. In the eyes of the game, they count as actual objects, meaning you can climb on top of them or even stand on top of them. This also means that at the moment you can place either of these two turrets on a prop and then run around while having it shoot at dudes. You can place a pad in the middle of a doorway to force an enemy to use it if they want to enter, which kind of stun locks them and in many cases turns them into an easy kill. No matter how much damage it has taken, picking up the Guardian turret will reset its cooldown and allow you to put it down again. Just keep in mind it will obviously take an additional 4 seconds before it gets activated once you place it down again. If you for whatever reason run the shotgun with medium, do not aim down sights with it. Aiming down sights doesn't change the spread of a shotgun and it will instead just slow you down. The crosshairs are just fine. Better yet, just another tip for you. If you're playing medium, just don't run the shotgun. If you're playing on any of the moving platforms, make sure to place your gas abilities at the front of the train. The gas will linger and damage any enemies that are behind it. You don't have to worry about always staying within line of sight to your teammates when using the healing beam. It has a small grace period just in case either of you get out of contact with each other for a brief period of time. Thanks to the range advantage from your weapons, unless you're playing the shotgun, which I specifically told you not to, generally speaking, a medium will want to play slow and methodical and kind of hang around behind your teammates while dishing out damage as necessary. You will rarely want to push forward and go for duels on your own. This rings especially true when you have heavies on your team, in which case just stay behind them. If you ever feel like you're in a ratting mood, keep in mind that you can place the jump pad on top of some bushes and then crawl underneath it to hide. There's no rule that says that the zipline or jump pad only can be used for rotations. You can quickly place a zipline in the middle of a duel to jump around and juke your enemy's shots, or even place a jump pad against a wall and jump into it to really throw them off. If you're running the F car, you will generally want to play close to cover, shoot a magazine, reload, and then keep moving forward, as most of the times you don't want to fully commit to an enemy unless they already are mid or low health. That being said, if a heavy jumps straight into your face and you cannot get away from them, make sure to shoot them in the head and watch them melt away. You see these small vents that are on every map out there? Only mediums and lights actually fit through them, making them the ideal escape route from heavies, especially if you don't want to take the risk and fight them head on. Another tip for the heal beam: once you've started healing a teammate, as long as you're within range and within line of sight, it will keep healing them even if you aren't looking directly at them. Use this to your advantage and keep looking around as to not tunnel vision and get caught off guard. This is especially crucial since by not having your weapon out and actively healing another teammate, the enemies will see you as a target for focused fire. Building off of that, because of how much of a target using a healing beam makes you, if the situation allows it, make sure to hide or at the very least play small behind cover as not to draw fire from the enemy when healing up your teammates, especially if they're fighting someone themselves. You can use explosive mines as an impromptu breaching charge, just stack them on top of each other and shoot one of them. After placing a turret, keep in mind that it will only lock onto enemies within its range and within about 120 degrees in front of it. Sliding into a jump pad will send you more forward than normally jumping onto it. And building off of that, you can instantly place and then take a jump pad by running with the pad out, looking somewhat straightforward, sliding and then placing it while continuing to look straight forward. It's also worth knowing that the jump pad will carry momentum from other movement abilities as well. So if you come off any other movement abilities such as a zipline or one of these large map jump pads, if you are holding sprint and you crouch on the way down, you can slide when you land and place a jump pad the same way as soon as you land and get the double jump with even more speed. Taking a map placed zipline can be pretty risky. That being said, by placing your own zipline alongside it and then spamming the interact and jump key, you will not only make yourself more difficult to hit, but you will also cross that path at least a little bit faster than usual. During any team fight, supporting and enabling your team should be the priority. If you're in a pre-made squad with really good teammates, that will usually mean making sure they're fully healed up and, well, alive. But if you're on a team with random teammates, sometimes supporting means going for those kills yourself. That being said, unless your teammates are the absolute worst players on Earth, odds are you will go much farther just by keeping them alive. If you are the only medium on your team, the healing beam will be a must. But if you are running in a pre-made team with good communication, and if you aren't the main healer out of the two mediums, this means that you could go for the recon senses instead, as this will give you a good idea of where all the enemies are and allow you to make the right and of course informed decisions. In the same vein, if you aren't the main healer and instead be what some call the flex healer, this means you could actually get away with swapping your zipline or jump pad for an APS turret instead. If you do run an APS, keep a close eye for certain fight deciding abilities, such as a glitch grenade or the RPG. If you manage to react fast enough, you can completely shut down the strategy with a well-timed APS turret. If you happen to get hit by a light player's stun gun, and let's face it, as a medium, you're gonna be one of the prime targets, don't panic, start wiggling back and forth and try to kill them by hip firing your weapon. Your damage per second is still respectable, and And the light players have a tiny health pool, so if they mess up ever so slightly, odds are you're going to win that fight. You'd be surprised how many duels I've won just from shooting right back at them. And of course, one of my favorites to make your medium play feel a lot smoother, when I'm swapping between the healing beam and my primary weapon mid-fight, I like to do so by starting a slide and then swapping between the two mid-slide. This doesn't cost me anything or delay an animation, it will actually keep me on the move and less of an easy target. And wow, there are a few more banger tips from people left, but first I want to thank you so much for watching this far. I have so many more videos on the way. We're currently producing this very video, but for light and for heavy, so if you want to catch that and way more useful and entertaining finals content, make sure that you have subscribed so you don't miss it. But now let me drop some amazing tips by Pippo, who's considered one of the best medium players in the game. We all know that you can place a jump pad on walls by now, but what you probably don't know is that it can completely block a doorway or window if you place it right next to it. There's also the added bonus of you being able to use it mid-fight if necessary. Certain objects that you can walk through but still break the line of sight, like bushes, dirt, or even shields, can actually block your defibrillator. Make sure that there's nothing in the way when you use it. A cool use of your jump pad is placing it on a wall, starting a mantle, and then cancelling it while turning 180 degrees. Compared to just running or jumping into the pad, this will send you flying. Keep in mind that mines can be destroyed by teammates' gunshots or explosions, which makes keeping a mine plus C4 or breach on top of the point pretty viable. A jump pad will almost always have enough range to get you all the way up a stairwell, just make sure that you break the glass if you want to reach the roof. As the medium on the squad, you almost never should be the one going for the cash out steal. Let one of your teammates do it and either defend by holding them or heal them up if they're trying to steal through area of effect damage such as fire or gas. One charge of the heal gun will last for exactly 350 or one heavy's worth of health before overheating. Keep this in mind when distributing heals to make sure that you have enough to keep everyone healthy. And that was it for medium. I really hope that this helps, and if you have more tips, feel free to drop them in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Peace out.